Hi everyone, it's Robin from Bernina Tauranga here. I am now going to show you how you put your embroidery module on a Bernina 7 series and how you set your machine up. So first of all, with your 7 series or whatever machine you happen to have, if you've got your sew table on, the first thing you need to do is to push your sew table, the little button, and take your sew table off. The next thing you're not going to need is your foot control, so you can unplug your foot control, although you can leave it plugged in if you like. And your embroidery module looks like this. This is an embroidery module. Okay, and the embroidery module has got 1, 2, 3 connections, and they just go into the side of your machine. You do not need leads or anything else anymore. So I'm going to show you how to put that on in a minute, but first of all I'm going to show you how you set up your hoop. So when you buy your hoop, you have got, it comes like this. Okay, come around this way. So this is what your hoop looks like. So just unscrew your hoop, take the 2 pieces and separate them. This is the bottom of your hoop, so you lay that down on a solid piece of fabric, a board. Do not have it flimsy. Make sure it's nice and firm. This is tearaway I'm using today, so it's just a tearaway. I've got 2 layers, it's a very fine one, and I'm just going to lay that over top of my hoop, and then I'm going to pop my fabric on here. Okay, so I've got 2 layers of tearaway. You could use 1, but that's a very fine one. 1 layer of fabric, and the hoops, a little bit tricky to see. They have got little arrows here, arrow pointing down, so that's the way it goes down. And I'm just going to place that in between my fabrics. And I can't push down because the screw's too tight. So just come to the screw and loosen the screw off. And then you can push your fabric down. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing my fabric, and I want to push it 3 mils lower than my hoop. So all around I'm pushing it down 3 mils lower than my hoop. So my inside hoop is getting pushed down 3 mils lower than my outside hoop. Okay? Then I'm coming to my screw and I'm screwing it up by hand. I'm not tightening it any other way, just by hand. Okay, once you've tightened that, then you just lay your fabric down here, and you get your fabric and you just very gently pull your fabric in to make it tight like a drum. So pulling it in towards your frame. I'm not pulling the tear away, just the fabric. I want it nice and firm like a drum. So I know my embroidery is going to be perfect. So should sound like a drum. And there I have my fabrics all ready to go. Okay? Right. So now I'm just going to bring my module, and I'm just going to sit it on my bench, and I'm just going to slide it into the slots in the side of the machine until it clicks. So you need a nice big table so that this is sitting nice and flush. Okay? If you like, you can put your sew table back on. Like that. We're going to take off our jewel feed and our sewing foot. Right. On the side of the machine you have a lower your presser foot. There's a button at the side of your machine. You push that button in, and it lowers your presser foot. Goodness me. Your feed dogs, I beg your pardon, lowers your feed dogs. And I'm going to take off my 9mm sewing plate, and I'm going to put on my straight stitch plate, which is for machine embroidery. So to take this off, you push on the corner here, there's a little button. You just push that and lift your plate off. Okay? To put this on, you come here and you push this down. All right. You're then going to put on, oh, that's the incorrect foot. You're going to find the correct foot. And this one here. You're going to use your embroidery foot, and it'll be foot 26, and that just fits on like your normal foot. So now I need to set my machine up for machine embroidery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my home page, and I'm going to push the picture of the embroidery hoop. Okay, and then I can choose this, but I have forgotten one thing. I have not told my machine that I've put the correct sew plate on. Okay, so if I go and select a design like this, and I say, yep, I've selected the design, it will come up here and say, look at the exclamation mark. It will say, what foot are you using and what sew plate are you using? So I'm going to tell it that yes, I'm using the 26 foot, which is the correct foot. And I'm going to come down to my 9mm plate, and I'm going to tell it that I'm using the 0 plate, which is this one here. And that's for machine embroidery. Now I have my machine set up for machine embroidery. So I'm going to go back up to my little folder, and I'm going to find a design. So if I go back to the beginning, here, I've got all of these folders of designs, okay? I'll just go back up here. So alphabet, folders of designs. The heart is only what I've saved in my designs. So I'm going to go to the folders of the designs. I'm going to pick up a design. I'll just pick up the first design I find. It is showing me that it is done in the oval hoop. The hoop that I showed you is the oval hoop, so that's fine. I can use that one, okay? So I'm just going to sew a design without doing too much, but I'm going to go to I for information, and I just want to show you the icons. If I go and touch this one here, I can move it with my stitch length up and down. I can move it with my stitch width across. Or, look what I can do, I can use my stylus and move it around the screen with my stylus. Okay? If I want to add something, I can add it. And I'm actually going to go back up and add a word, because I'm into that at the moment, aren't I? So I'm just going to put ABC. Tick it. And I can move that anywhere I want it to go. Okay? If I don't want ABC, it's highlighted, I can delete it and go, I don't want ABC on there. It doesn't look very pretty. I've now got rid of it. Okay, I can touch my touch icon again to add, and I might like it in script. Select it is ticking the green arrow. There's my ABC. I can run it down here, or remember you've got this highlighted. I can move it up and down with my straight, so zigzag, across with my zigzag button wherever I want it to go. Okay? I can mirror image things. I can turn them around if I want to turn that around. I can put it on an angle. Okay? This one will turn it 90 degrees. It will turn it upside down. It will turn it sideways and back where I was. Okay? So I for information shows you everything you can do just like on your normal sewing. Very clever. So when I'm happy with my design, I close out of here and I just push my arrow. It's saying it wants me for it to move, so I tick it and it lets the embroidery module move. Where people get a problem with this is they don't tick it, and if you don't wait for it to tell you to put the hoop on, it won't work. And a lot of people call me on that as a problem. So now I'm putting my hoop in. I'm going to show you how you clip your hoop. You have got two little lugs here, and you squeeze them. You bring them over these two little marks equally, and you squeeze it down and let it go. Showing you that again. Squeeze it, lift it up. Okay? I'm going to squeeze them, bring it over evenly and put it down, and it's nice and you can feel it's in. Okay? When you've done that, you're going to tick the box here again, and it's going to move it into position. Okay. What I love about these machines is it's showing me what part of my design it's going to do. So these little tendrils out here, I can choose whatever colour I like, or I can follow the design and it's saying grey. It's saying this is going to take 12 minutes. And if I look here, it's showing me all the things that I can do. So see this little icon here with the scissors? If I highlight that, it's going to cut the stitches between my designs from moving around on my frame. So I definitely want that function on. If that function is highlighted, it means my thread's broken and I've had to go backwards or forwards. If I touch this icon, it will actually frame a stay stitch around my design. If I touch it a second time, it will actually go around my whole hoop. I'm just going to touch that again and show you. Touch it once, it's going to do a basting stitch around my design. Touch it again, it will do a basting stitch around my hoop. So let's do that to show you. So I'm just going to put this green thread on here, and I am putting my thread there. Don't push this tight. This is just a holder for your thread from flying off, and I'm just going to thread this normally. There, down, around, up and down. Same way you thread your sewing machine. And I've got ordinary thread in my bobbin, nothing fancy, just an ordinary thread. You can use bobbin fill, you can use whatever you like. So you can see the lights flashing. So that means that I can just push that button and it's going to start going. So let's baste it. So I'm going to push it. It's stopping to say I can cut that loose thread. I'm just going to pop it over there for now. And I'm just going to carry on basting. I can make it go faster if I want to, just by pushing this button, but it won't baste any faster on the basting stitch, so it won't make it go any faster. Now the reason why you probably would like to baste something is to keep your fabric and your tearaways all together. So I think it's brilliant. So now it's ready for my first colour. So I'm going to leave the green on, and I'm just going to push my start button. It starts off, locks off. It tells you to cut the thread if you need to, so you can cut it with the scissors. Nothing is needed to be cut. So I can start my button again. And now it's going to start sewing my design. This is at half speed. And it's saying it's got 68 minutes for the design, 12 minutes for this colour, but then I can speed it up here. That's gone down to 8 minutes. And then I can speed it up with my hair. That's gone down to 6 minutes. So you can cut down the time of your embroideries. So that one colour is going to take 6 minutes instead of 8 minutes or 13 minutes. So speed it up, 7 minutes, put on my hair, and it's only 6 minutes. They stitch beautifully. So we'll do colour 1 and colour 2. It's showing you how many stitches for that colour at the bottom. It's showing you where it's stitching on your design. Very, very clever. It's changed my tension to make my sewing perfect. So it's now got 5 minutes left, and the design will take 35 minutes to complete. It's finished that part of the design. Now it's going to stitch across to the next part. So it slows itself down. It's walking, and now it's going to satin stitch my next part. So with the embroideries, it understitches first. Very clever. moves across to where it needs to go. I'm just going to stop it. Okay, so we're going to pretend we've finished that whole colour. So I'm going to cut with my scissors. All right. I'm going to forward it to colour 2. Well, it's actually colour 3 or colour 4. I'm going to go to a leaf, a whole different part. So you can actually scroll through your colours. If you don't want to do a whole design, you can scroll through to the colours you like. I'm now going to cut the thread, so remember, cut the thread at the top. Did that cut? Yep. And pull it from the needle. Okay? When you're changing colours. So now I'm going to change to, I'll do a variegated colour. So every time you're changing colour, you must cut from the back and stitch, rethread it and pull it from the needle. Okay, so just use your needle threader under here and there, and so I've gone right through to colour 6 because I'm just showing you how to do it. So start button. This time I've left a tail so I can show you what happens. I'm going to cut the thread and then start sewing, and you don't need to touch that, you can just touch this. Okay. Now it's showing me the part of the design that it's doing, and it's saying there's 9 minutes for that flower. I'll just do one flower to show you. Variegated threads are very, very pretty, especially on a flower. So it's doing all the understitching on the underneath of my design, and then it will do the satin stitching on top of it. So very, very good. It's now starting the satin stitching, so it's done all the base layers. Finish that part of the flower, now it's moving up. So it's actually cutting in between where it doesn't need to be stitched. Doesn't need to run it on. Oh, and it's telling me to cut it, which I'm not going to. So it must be done in a few different colours. This one must have petals in different colours. I'm doing all the same. That'll be an interesting flower. I'll stop it after this one. There we go. All right. So if I want to save this design, I can save this design. So I'm going to go into this one here, which is my little pencil. I'm going to go to I, and I'm going to not save it in there at all, Robin. Oh, I've got to think about this. I've got to go up to this one, and I'm going to save it. I nearly forgot. I've got to go to the folder, and I'm going to save it in this heart. So save and save. Okay, so I can turn my machine off. I can turn my machine back on. It's another day. I never finish my design. My embroidery is still all sitting there. And when I turn my machine off, this is how clever they are. You have to wait for it to start and warm up. There's a lot of information on these machines. There's my design. Very, very clever. So you will not lose your design even if you haven't saved it. If the power goes off, but I encourage everybody to save their design before they actually start embroidering, which is one thing I did forget to tell you. So it's something you might like to try. And certainly your embroidery is so addictive. So have a little play. Please email me if you have any questions. My email is beninarobin@gmail.com. It's not, let's try that again. It's robin@mybernina.co.nz. It'll still get me at the other one. So robin@mybernina.co.nz, and my website is mybernina.co.nz. So I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of instruction on embroidery. Have a good day.